Hello and welcome back to another edition of our TribPreps video series. Like always, my name is Alex VandenHouten, and to my left is sports editor Todd Sommerfeldt. And Todd, it's playoff time here.
Yes, it is. I would say finally it went really fast. But
It did.
It just feels
Yeah.
it just feels good that it's here, and we have so many teams that are playing and trying to fighting to extend their seasons. And I think we probably could have gotten some more home games.
Yeah,
I don't necessarily think, and everybody's got beefs with
Yeah.
seeds, but I certainly think at least a couple of these could be flipped in terms of the 5-4 games.
Yeah.
I think the NBC teams that are involved in those are good enough to host and get that 4 seed, but you're playing the same team anyways. It's just a matter of where it is. So if you're good enough to win, you'll go out there and win.
And like Todd mentioned, we have plenty of teams in action, 15 in all. That made playoffs from our area. We'll just quickly run through the list right here of games that we'll be expecting on Friday night here. In Division 2, we'll be number 6 Central is over at number 3 Milton. Todd will actually be at that one, traveling over there, so like always, follow him along. Number 5 Holman at number 4 Watertown. Another good matchup there, clashing of different styles. It'll be interesting to see there as well. Division 3, we have number 7 Monroe at number 2 Onalaska. That's a game I'll be at. Number 5 Sparta at number 4 Reedsburg. We'll have someone there, Sean Davis.
Sean Davis from Portage.
Yep, good friend of ours. Helps us out quite a bit, so you can follow him there too, and we'll get into that as well. In Division 4, number 7 Black River Falls at number 2 Baldwin at Woodville. And in Division 5, we'll have number 5 Platteville at number 4 Aquinas. Of course, Aquinas making their first playoff appearance since 2012. And number 6 Arcadia at number 3 Columbus. And the top seed in Division 5 is GET, or at least on their side of the bracket. Number 1 GET, number 8 Marshall. And of course, that game's over in Galesville. And number 7 New Glarus / Monticello is at number 2 Prairie du Chien. And over in Division 6, we have number 7 Melrose Maduro at number 2 Mineral Point. Of course, we know Mineral Point's very good.
Yep.
and in Division 7, we have quite a list here.
Bunch of games.
Yeah, number 6 DeSoto, the Pirates. At number 3 River Ridge. Number 8 Cashion. Go see Cashion back in the playoffs. They get the defending Division 7 champs.
Yep.
And Blackhawk over there. And they'll be traveling to Blackhawk for that one. And number 8 Webster will make the trip up to Bangor, who of course is the number 1 seed on their side of things. And number 7 Augusta at number 2 Blair Taylor. Good to see the Wildcats in there. Number Dairyland champion. And number 6 Reedville at number 3 Brookwood will wrap everything up. And Todd, why don't we start with your game first? Central at Milton. Potentially, obviously, Johnny Davis. A lot of things going on. A lot of things to watch. What are you kind of looking forward to the most?
Well, I think and I was talking to Coach Tommy Shinsky at practice yesterday. We'll have a story on Jess Ondell going up on our website in our Friday paper this week, talking about him getting to where he is as a safety for the Hilltoppers. But, I remember, I'm old enough to remember a time where Milton and Monroe were state powers. And that's not the case now. But Coach Shinsky had some tape of the two playing each other and said not to minimize Central's chances to win the game. So didn't close out the season great if you're the Red Raiders, but possibly going into a winnable situation. One thing to remember, Milton's coach, Rodney Wettig, used to coach Walworth Bigfoot, and they won a state championship and played in a couple of their finals. Coach Travis Frederick, who plays for the Cowboys. So he's had a lot of success before. I think it's his first year at Milton. Maybe he was there last year, I'm not sure. So obviously a good coach on the sideline there that you have to go up against. Milton has a really strong tradition in football. Have had some guys go on and do some good things after high school. But maybe if you're Central, you got it out of your system now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a fresh start, and maybe that's a good thing, and you can go on the road and steal one from Milton here.
Yeah, and of course Milton, we're just kind of doing our research here beforehand, and Monroe and Milton played each other quite a bit. And Monroe, of course, is going to be playing Alaska, but Monroe actually took care of business against Milton earlier this year. And so is it a number 3 seed, for Milton? Is that, we don't really know a whole lot about them, but still.
Well, I think they come out of the Badger Conference, maybe not on the power side of it, but they play good teams, and as you said, they get beat up by Monroe, which is kind of a surprise. Looking at final records, maybe that matchup was just going to go Monroe's way regardless. But one thing Monroe does is run the ball, and that's something Central doesn't.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to see how they can move the ball. They're going to have to get Terrence Thompson open. And, of course, they can run with Johnny, but you can't just go with Johnny. You need something else out there to help. And I know, he almost did it against Sparta with the help of Terrence. And so he had a couple other receivers he hit, but mostly Terrence in that game. So he's going to have to establish that connection. And one thing they have is, they have some size, and you can put the ball somewhere for Terrence to catch it and nobody else can get it. So if they can, hit some pass plays like that, maybe they'll see their season will continue.
And let's stick in Division II here. Number 5, Holman, of course, traveling to number 4, Watertown there. And this is probably one of those games, Todd, where you can make the argument that Holman should be having a home game. But
I think so. I say that not having seen Watertown, and I say the same for another game we'll talk about, Sparta-Reedsburg. I think Holman and Sparta both are good enough, but I can see how hard the argument is for Holman with the way the season ended. But again, you're playing the same team. Doesn't make that big of a difference. So I think we'll see Holman on top of its game. I know this is a bunch of kids who don't want to be done yet. This is a bunch of kids that expected more than what they did during the regular season. So now's their chance to, I guess, do something else with the season rather than, come away with that third place finish in the MVC that they didn't want.
Yeah, and of course we mentioned earlier it's kind of a clash of styles. I know Watertown likes to throw it around quite a bit.
They have, yeah. And obviously Holman's not going to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless they have to.
Yeah.
Which they can. They've showed us they can. But that certainly isn't the goal going out for opening kickoff.
Yeah, exactly. So that'll be kind of the things to watch. I know they have a kind of a talented quarterback too. They likes to do it. They kind of everything runs through him for Watertown there. So it'll be interesting to see if Holman, that dominating style like they always do, will take over, or Watertown there. So that'll be a good matchup to watch. It's more of an intriguing matchup, I would say too.
And Holman's defense is legit.
Exactly.
We saw that against Onalaska last week. We know how good Onalaska's offense is, and we saw both defenses play really well against good offenses in that game. So I think that's an advantage that both those teams have going in, is the fact that they can, put out that shutdown defense.
Yeah, and you mentioned Alaska, of course, they'll be hosting Monroe. That's a game I'm actually going to be at. But Todd, like you said, you're going to be out there. Jess Lundell is our feature for Friday type of stuff. What's kind of the environment been like, and what's kind of just the plan heading into Friday there?
Well, I think it's taking care of business, and I think that, they're the 2 seed going against the 7. They expect to go out there and win the game. There isn't really anything they've done this season that would hinder them from thinking that. I don't think. I think this is a legitimate team, offensively and defensively, and we saw, maybe we saw different parts of it excel at different times throughout the season. But I think they're really going to the playoffs with a complete team, and that's what you need to succeed here. So this is just the first step. They get the game at home, where they want to be, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they can do against. It's always good to see how the teams around here can do against those Madison and Sudbury teams.
Yeah.
And those teams from the Badger Conference. And a lot of times the Badger Conference is playing on a different level. And there are teams in it that can play on a different level. But I think the teams that we have here that we've talked about, the teams on this side of the state can hang with these teams. So I think it's going to present challenges, Monroe will, but I think it's on Alaska's game to win.
Yeah, it's one of those challenges. Monroe, they can really run the ball. They have 2 guys that, the top 2 rushers have close to over 2,000 yards, 26 touchdowns. So they're going to be able to run the ball, I think. But Alaska, I think, has shown that they can, handle any physicality that kind of gets thrown their way, and 2, be able to really defend well, like you mentioned, Todd.
Yep.
This year it seems like all facets are really starting to click, and right at the right time too, as we head into the playoffs.
Just another challenge.
Yep, just another challenge.
They like challenges in Alaska.
They sure do. And we'll jump over to Reedsburg here. Sparta at Reedsburg, like we said, Sean, who helped us out a bunch in state track as well down there at Portage, will be at that game. So you can follow him on Twitter as well to do that type of stuff. But Sparta at Reedsburg, you mentioned this was a game like 4 or 5 that felt like it had been flipped around. But what are you looking for Friday night?
I want to see Sparta bounce back. I understand they played Marshfield, which is a team that's won a lot of games over the years, and ended up winning their conference this year. So Marshfield's a good team to play. You can get a lot out of it. I think Sparta certainly should have expected to go win that game with the way it's played this year, the way it played against Holman, and and it just didn't happen for him. So, and one thing Marshfield did was really shut down Cole Wisniewski. I think he had less than 40 rushing yards in that game. So Sparta's got to find a way to get him going, and really kind of, I want to say rally behind him, but he's your guy at this point. And you need a good game out of him, and you need to find ways to complement him and allow him to have the big game that he's capable of having.
Yeah, and let's go over to Division 5 here. Number 5 Platteville, of course, at number 4 Aquinas. That's an interesting game in itself. We mentioned Blue Goals a lot. We've mentioned them great times. First time since 2012 made the playoffs here in Platteville. It was a regular type of stuff in these playoff scenarios. And Platteville, of course, they're in the same conference as Prairie du Chien, SWC. There, and Prairie du Chien actually handled them pretty good. I believe that was last week or week before, something like that. I think I saw it was like 42-6 or something like that.
And Prairie du Chien beat Aquinas by a point, so you kind of have to give. And if they're playing at different points in the season.
Exactly. Yeah, they're playing at different points.
That was Aquinas. Prairie du Chien was week 1.
But still, you can make the argument that Aquinas should have won that game.
So yeah. But good chance. I think good chance for Aquinas to go out there and get a win.
I know you talked to Tom a little bit this week, right?
Yeah, he said he remembers how to get ready for playoff games. His kids don't, because none of them have been in
Yeah,
them
seriously,
before.
yeah.
So there's a lot on Tom Lee to get this team ready for this one. But I think it will be, and I'm just trying to think what it can do for the program. It's great that they got to the playoffs. If they can go out there and win a game too, I mean that's huge. And they got a lot of these kids coming back next season, and I think it can really, I guess, keep things going or get things in the right direction going into the off season whenever that happens to start. But anytime you're talking about getting playoff wins, it's a big deal.
Yeah, and I just talked to Tom after Friday night because I was at that game out with her, and Aquinas, of course, last Friday when Aquinas rolled big time. Just talked to Tom, because you mentioned, they have a lot of guys coming back next year. He said, we're kind of playing with house money right now. We like where we're at right now, and if they can get a playoff win, man, that would only step for the future, like Todd just mentioned there.
And they played well enough in their games. That tell you that they can go out there and do this.
Yes, and let's go with GET there. Of course, they get the number 1 seed. I know, we can only say so much about Bryce Burns and Luke Vance, but it seems like every week they just they just keep doing it every week.
Yes, and no reason to think that'll end.
Yes,
in this game, and whether that leads to a big run in the playoffs, I don't know. GT's had some good teams that have stumbled in the playoffs before, but I certainly think they can get off on the right foot on this one and then see what happens after that. There's no reason for me to think that Marshall can come in and stop those two guys. I mean, Burns and Vance, I think, will have big games again.
Me too. And Jeff's going to be at that one too,
Yeah,
right?
Jeff Brown will be at that game. We'll have something up on thecrosstribune.com letting you know where everybody's going to be, everybody's Twitter handles, so you can follow all these games. If you're going to one, you can see what's going on in the others. But we'll have that up on Friday, and it'll be near the top of our page, so it should be easy to find, and you can see where we're all going to be.
Yeah, and like I said, we'll have a bunch of people. But let's go hit on Division 7 a little bit. Like you said, quite big games. Is there really one that really intrigues you kind of the most there out of that group, or? I know it's kind of hard to pick, but.
I wonder if DeSoto's got a shot playing against River Ridge. Trevor Raybon has had a great year. They can lean on him. They'll have to. I mean, that's just what they do. He really powers that offense. And whether that means they can beat River Ridge, I don't know. They've played some good games this season. They've hung with some really good teams this season. And, I mean, this will obviously require doing that again, but maybe they can keep it close and pull something out at the end. I think the others, Bangor's going to cruise. Cashton's going to have a real tough time with Blackhawk.
Yeah.
Blair Taylor, I think, should be okay in its game. And again, big deal for Blair Taylor to get in here and get this and possibly get a win. And same with Brookwood. We'll see what they can do with Klinkner and see if they can get him going against Reedsville. I think Reedsville plays some pretty good teams during the regular season. So, I don't know if that's necessarily like a true 3 versus a 6. I mean, that's what it turned out to be. So, but I think that should be decent competition there for the Falcons.
And we're certainly looking forward to it. Like we said, playoffs are always fun. It's kind of hard to believe it's here, but we're ready for it.
is, yeah.
And like I said, you can find where we're all going to be. All that's going to be up on lacrossetribune.com. We're going to be at a number of games. Of course, Todd's going to be over there in Milton, across the other side of the state, and I'll be in Alaska. And like I said, we'll be all at someone at Aquinas, someone at GET as well. Bangor, yes, that's
and
right.
Reedsburg.
And Reedsburg, yes, that's right, Sean, yes. And so so we're looking forward to it. First playoff game here, but like always, you can find everything we do on lacrossetribune.com, whether it's stories, videos, all that stuff on Twitter. You can follow all of us. Like Todd said, that'll be up soon with where we're going to be at exactly, and that'll all be all up on our website there. But for us, I think that'll do it for us here, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow, recapping playoffs.
And you can have Eric Lee talking about games on Friday night.
Yes, that's right. Todd's not going to be here. We'll be having a new face, Eric Lee, who's many of you have probably seen him all at games this year. He's helping us out quite a bit.
Yep.
And so, but yeah.
He'll be sitting on the video. You don't have to look at me on Friday.
Oh, come on. That's what they'll miss the most, Brian.
Yeah.
But as for me, Alex, and for Todd, that'll be all for us tonight. And, well, we'll see you all again tomorrow.